Hi Cammy, hi Acid Bottle, welcome to the stream, and happy Halloween. So I'm playing the demo of Who Games Phantom Leap is the first game of the stream. Just trying to find the last few coins. Oh, I haven't been up there. Okay, now that's another teleporter, I think. Yeah, okay, here we go. Now... Alright, there we go. Okay, that's better. Mega Kemi says, I had a lot of fun playing the latest demo of Creeping Me Out Hex Knight last night. Mixels has done such an amazing job with the Scorpion engine. Yeah. Creeping Me Out Hex Knight is, it is one of the premier Scorpion engine games. It pretty much always has been, and, I already had a couple of games lined up for this stream, but for the next stream I'll definitely want to play, the new demo. Yeah, there's certain things in the demo that I'm really keen to show off. Like there's a riverboat crossing and a giant saw blade boss. A couple of places had reported it was actually that it was an AGA demo, but that wasn't actually the case. It is a game that will run on an ECS Amiga with enough memory. Whoops. I think some of the confusion had come from, like, there are AGA demos of the game, but this new demo, despite having some of the really cool set pieces, like the riverboat crossing with the, the river that actually has a tide, and the giant saw blade boss that's, the height of the entire screen, that new demo is ECS. Definitely an interesting mechanic how when you like if I start attacking one of these enemies, it gets all its health back if I miss. It sort of becomes a bit of a timing, or a bit of a precision, whoops. Well, precision and timing, you have to try to hit this thing multiple times without it getting away from you. Hello Mixels, welcome to the chat. Yeah, we're just talking about the new demo of Creeping Me Out that I'll put on stream next week, next episode of Scorpion TV. And yeah, it's a few people had assumed the new demo was AGA, but it's actually not. But definitely looks AGA with some of these big set pieces like the river crossing and the giant saw blade. Okay, so the door's open. So I'm playing the demo version of this. Unfortunately, didn't get the commercial version sorted out in time for the stream. I sort of left the setup the last minute. But there is a commercial boxed version of this game, as well as a commercial boxed version of the next game I'll put on stream. I'll put links to them in the YouTube description for when I repost this to YouTube. Even though this is just a demo version, there is a lot of content in it, and one of the things I do really like about this game is how it has a really modern look and feel to it, like, you know, almost like a like a modern indie game on Switch, or like an Android game. Just sort of the how crisp the palette is, how sort of big and smooth the animations are. Hey Zupadan, welcome to the chat. Happy Halloween to everyone. Oops. Okay, can I get over there? Oh. Okay, maybe there's another teleporter I need to find that will get me up there. And for the meantime, I'm gonna go down this way. Get over there? Looks like that's too far for me to jump. Okay, so I think there's one more teleporter for me to find. I'm not quite able to get up there. I should walk around along the ground level just to see if there's anything I've missed on the ground. Hi Pink Parrot Studio, welcome to the chat. Hello Doxter. Zupadan says plan for 2026 is to make one game every month 1 week to plan, 3 weeks to execute. That sounds like a very cool thing to pull off. I do hope some of those are going to be Scorpion Engine games. I know you've sort of gone back to Blitz Basic, but I definitely would love to see more Scorpion Engine games from you. Especially since the Scorpion Engine projects you do are you know, often quite ambitious and really push what you know, what has been done with Scorpion. Whoops. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, this will be the last teleporter, I guess. Whoops. Okay, that's that makes me really happy to hear that haven't abandoned Scorpion, and I hope that the new Code Blocks 2 system it makes it easier for you to code with. I cannot remember where the exit door. Whoops, the exit door is. Acid Bottle says he's too afraid to use Code Blocks 2. I mean, that's totally understandable. Like, one thing I've always wanted to try to do with Scorpion Engine is to try to make it fairly open and wide for, you know, who can use it. Like with Unreal Engine, you've got the visual blueprints for people that you know, are not really versed in C, and then you can code directly in C if you need that you know, that extra power, or that you know, just being able to write things out rather than use a mouse to drag things around. Well, that was Phantom Leap by Who Games, and if you're watching on YouTube, there will be some links in the comments for where you can get that. So next game I am going to put on is a game by Acid-Bottle. Now, Acid-Bottle, I apologize, I didn't get around to, like with Phantom Leaf, I didn't get around to sourcing the commercial games, so I don't know if there's that much difference between that and what was what's on the itch page. Acid-Bottle says can send me the Fast Food 2 commercial version. Yep. Okay. No, that sounds good. Can you flick it to my Discord? I think I'll need to. Can I stop sharing my display for? Okay. So hopefully, screen has gone blank. Hopefully you can all still hear me. I've just turned off the stream while I open Discord and get the game. Oh, great. Yep. Yeah. Big Parrot Studio mentioned the screen shake feature, so I'll be showing that a bit. What that allows you to do is to basically it allows you to move the camera independently of the follow settings. So, oh, not just the camera, but also the hardware sprites. So those can be sent. Those can be modified separately. Sorry, I've just gotten the new fast food, so I'm going to turn video back on right now. Whoops. I don't want to exit. Okay, so we're back. We've got fast food to final build. I'm going to fire that up. Let me just set my sort of defaults. I want native. Might as well put it super fast floppy, and just change the game controls over to that. Oh, there we go. Bitmap soft. So a little bit of background about this one. So this was the winner of the Emmy Game Jam, I think 2024 edition. And it's while it's an unofficial remake, or sorry, unofficial sequel to the Disney spin-off Fast Food 2, it has gotten blessing for a boxed commercial release. And yeah, and one of the things I really like to see in Scorpion Engine is games that fall outside of the genre of platformer. So last week we had two games that weren't platformers. We had Callback by Dataline and the Osiris Infection by Hoister Games. So the first was an Arkanoid game, the second was a puzzler. And then this week we've got a sort of a Pac-Man clone, or that genre of game. And yeah, as you can see, it's so it's all nice and smooth. There's the graphics are very vibrant. Zubadan says the Arkanoid clone was really nice. Yeah. So Callback was. It's one of those games that sort of like I wouldn't have thought it was a Scorpion Engine game just by looking at it, because it. Well, I guess for one thing, it is very different to what Scorpion Engine games are typically like. But also, there's just so much going on. There's just about every pixel on the screen is well, is that invincibility? Yeah, just about every pixel on the screen is moving. Oh. Okay, I think can I walk? I think I might be stuck. Maybe I just have to hope. No. Oh. Okay, that was lucky. Whoops. Yeah, oops. Sorry, I keep looking off to the side to see if chat. Doxter's asking if this is Scorpion Engine. Yes, this is a Scorpion Engine game. Oh, where did the bad guys go? Oh, maybe guess I got a power up that killed them. Whoops. Yeah, so with Scorpion Engine, I've tried to make it as well. Most of the features are platform game related because that's sort of where the demand is for more features for making really good platform games. But I have always had a few things in for like top-down games, and this was, I guess, one of the first games to really take advantage of some of those mechanics that were designed for top-down games, like the patrol type characters. Oh yes, I quite like in this level there's sort of a fake transparency. So like if you go behind the if anything goes behind the RV, it has that nice checkerboard effect. You actually see that checkerboard effect in a lot of Sega Saturn games because it didn't really have any sort of way of doing like native alpha blending, I believe, and so in games like Doom, for example, the Spectre, it's just the pinky sprite with that transparency, that sort of checkerboard transparency effect applied. Oops. I like how this one is sort of a lot more open than most of the levels. Like some of the earlier levels were sort of like Pac-Man, and then this one you've got a lot more room. Whoops! I just ran into an enemy behind the tree. So a lot more room to move about. Acid Bottle mentioned the original game had a bounce mechanic, which hasn't been implemented here. Whoops. Yeah, I think because there hasn't been a lot of demand for features for Pac-Man like games, I haven't put a lot of effort into making the controllers for these characters as flexible as they need to be. So I think one day in future I'll probably have it so that it'll be much easier to implement a feature where you can bounce off walls. Okay, I just need to get over to the other side there. Like they're all... Oh, there we go. Got it. Doxer's mentioned Captain Cloudberry, which is a, I believe it's a remake of a Commodore 64 game that it itself looks like it's not a typical Scorpion Engine genre game. So it'll be very. I'll definitely want to play that one on stream whenever it's available. Whoops. Definitely getting harder. Ah. Acid Bottle says power-ups are your friend on this level. Oops. Ah. Okay, I'll try to get out of... Yeah, one thing that makes it different to Pac-Man is instead of just being mazes, you've got a fair bit of room to move around. So it becomes more about dodging than just trying to find a way through the maze that avoids all the ghosts. Okay, so I think we've seen that. I think we played through the easy levels. We've seen some of the medium ones. I think the medium ones were the RV levels. I think so. I'm gonna put it on hard. There was this Pac-Man game on DOS called, I think it was called CD Man, and it had different themes like this. I might have to revisit that game. That was quite a cool game. Whoops. Yeah, I'm probably not going to last very much longer because well, yeah, I'm playing it on hard, but also, you know, because I didn't start from the start, I didn't get like all of those lives from the early levels. Doxa says my idea is to port all or most of my Commodore 64 games over to the Amiga, and SE is perfect for just that. Oh, that'd be yeah, that would be really cool to see all of your projects, because the ones I've seen so far, like Cloudberry, look really cool. Thank you for the kind words, Zupadan and Acid Bottle. Well, so that was Fast Food 2 by Acid Bottle, who's here in the chat. I will post links to where you can play the demo or buy that in the YouTube comments. Oh yes, and Doc's also made a game called Fight, which I think has a distinction of being the first split-screen multiplayer game in Scorpion Engine. A critical interrupt. Welcome to the chat. Now, I said I was going to do screen shake next, so I will fire that up. So, I mentioned earlier that the screen shake feature allows you to independently move the level scrolling and the actor scrolling separate from the separate from the camera. So Because previously, if you wanted to do a screen shake, you would need to handle the fact that like the camera usually wants to follow the player, and then if you change it so it's not following the player anymore, then that can cause some issues. I'll leave it on Mega Drive. It doesn't really matter what platform it's on. So, okay. So I just wanted to review my code. So I haven't. So even though this is a new feature, I don't have like a command for it. It's just two sets of variables. So shake camera X and shake sprite X and Y. So if I fire up the game. Doxter says, so split screen games on the Amiga isn't done often. No, there are a few games that are split screen, like I think it's Samurai Duck is notable for having split like two-player split screen, and each of the screens is independently scrolling in 8 directions. Oh yes, and yeah, like Lotus has yeah, a lot of racing games have split screen. Very few of them have a vertical split, but there are one or two, like I think Jupiter Master Drive. Um, but anyway, so if I oh, sorry, I need to make a change here. I'm going to change the king to being uncontrollable, so I can move the camera around. I can move the shake around, demonstrate the shake. Okay, so this is the sprite shake. So you can see we can, without moving the camera, we can sort of move the sprites around. But we can also do the opposite, where if I'm holding fire. No, sorry, which one is that one? So you see, I'm not moving the sprites anywhere. I'm just moving the level independently of it. There is no sort of sanity check for bounds or anything, so I can just go way out of bounds, and then it starts to glitch or whatever. Um, so yeah, so those can be moved independently. You might be able to create some sort of pseudo 3D effect by moving them at a slightly different pace, but we'll do something practical with it. So that was just showing off yeah, the actual feature, but that wasn't really practical use for it. But we'll make a practical use for it. Let's where is so I want to remove the shake test. Let's get rid of that, and then let's make the character controllable again. So I haven't tested this. I had this idea where you could make the ground shake whenever you landed on the ground. Yeah, sorry, in chat they've mentioned four-way split. I have seen one or two games. I think there might have been even a Blitz Spacer game that had I think it was like a top-down deathmatch game, and there was some sort of four-way split. I cannot remember the name of it. We're on platform landed, so we're going to make it so that the king shakes the ground whenever he hits it. And shake camera X, shake sprite X. Okay, so I'm going to try to code this in CodeBox too. So whenever we hit the ground, we want to go something like set shake camera X5, set shake camera Y. No, we don't want to shake sprite X5. We don't want to shake it on the up and down. We'll just shake it left and right to begin with. And then I might go yield 1. Yep. So I still need to get used to my own language, because since Code Block 2 is fairly new, I uh, I still haven't quite fully memorized all of the commands, even though I created them. Um, but we can do things like this much easier in Code Blocks 2 than we ever could in just straight in the editor. Oh, and then of course I want to set it back to 0. I don't know how this is going to look. It might be quite an extreme effect. Whoops. Doxa mentions the Visual Studio Code extension memorizes them all. I should have had that open actually. I think I did have it on stream last week, but just sort of as a reminder, we can. Oops. Just ignore all that. So just as a reminder, we can edit our code box to here. And if we start typing things in, it will give us the inline documentation, as well as it's highlighted the syntax separately from the expressions. Some of these here are still in the old code box format, in that big messy JSON structure, but we're moving away from that towards this code box 2, where it's all nice and clean and it's easy to edit in text editor. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's see if this actually does what I expect it to do. Whoops. Now, why did I fall through the ground? I mean, it is shaking. I don't know. I don't understand why it fell. Oh. Okay, yeah. I must have changed that to none for some reason, because I was just experimenting. Yep. So we've got our screen shake whenever we hit the ground. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to try to add that pseudo 3D thing I mentioned, which is I'm going to make the sprite shake a little bit less than the camera. I got autosave on? I guess I must do. So this might look weird. Zupadan says stream keeps freezing. Is it just for me? I'm not sure. It does actually say unstable at my end. We might be able to write this down to New Zealand ISPs. I don't know if there's really anything noticeably different. Hello, Brando Moulton. Welcome to the chat. But yeah, I think that will do for the screen shake for now. It sort of demonstrated how we can use it, and how it doesn't interrupt our camera follow like just manually setting the camera X and camera Y would do. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was ADPCM-B. So that's a relatively new thing I've added to NeoGeo. And I'm just going to change back to AES. Okay, so the long and short of it is there's two kinds of samples on, or two sound systems on the or two ways to play samples on the NeoGeo. So there's ADPCM-A and ADPCM-B. ADPCM-B has the advantage of well, it is it is pretty well compressed, and so the idea is you can have very long music files that you can basically play back instead of having like chiptune, you can actually have a song that you can play back in um, in full. And so the um, now the command is still music CD, and I will go into that go into why that's music CD rather than just music in a little bit. But if we start that up, hopefully this is just all going to work. Oh, Doxa says a little more randomness in the shake and it'll probably look amazing. Yeah, I think it's so it is a brand new feature. I don't think anyone has really done anything too crazy with it yet, but I'll be very interested to see what people are going to do with it if they try things like randomness. Now that sounds a little bit off. I might need to I don't know if it's just because I'm streaming, but the music doesn't quite sound right. Okay, so it looks like I might have some bugs there with the NeoGeo output I need to investigate. Um, so going back to why it says music CD, the thing about ADPCM-B is that it is not a feature of the NeoGeo CD, but the NeoGeo CD does have CD music. So when you switch to the NeoGeo CD side, it's instead of saying is ADPCM-B, it says is CD music, and those commands all work the same way. So what it basically comes down to is if you're making a game for the NeoGeo, if you use ADPCM-B or use CD music, then you can port from one NeoGeo to the system to the other without needing to change anything. Just going to give that a quick test while I'm at it. NeoGeo, Zupadan says NeoGeo is the one console I wish I had. I'm very fortunate to have a NeoGeo CD, but I don't have one of the cartridge systems yet. Oh, okay. So sound wasn't playing. I think it is actually an emulator. There we go. Let's go to speakers. There we go. Okay, so that's what music is supposed to sound like. I'm not sure if MAME was playing up because I was on stream or if there is an underlying bug with ADPCM-B I need to fix. Superdan says it was so ahead of its time, Arcade in Box. Yeah, it really was a incredible machine for the time. And not just as like a home console, but as an arcade machine, it was so powerful. It did last for quite a while. Hi, Phase 101. Welcome to the chat. Okay, so I've gone over both features that I wanted to cover for both of the new features that I want to cover for the stream. The question is, so how long have I got left in stream? So I had scheduled about an hour for a workshop where I just sort of ad hoc try to create something new, and then last week last week Mixel mentioned that nobody's ever really tried to do an asteroids type game in Scorpion, or at least as far as I know. So that's something that I tried. If someone's got sort of a random suggestion for, hey, it might be cool to see a game like this, or otherwise, I think last week someone did mention a they wanted a demo of like a run and gun game. Asabola says Asteroids got me thinking about Time Pilot. I think you're going to really like Captain Cloudberry when it comes out. Um, Acid Bottle says Operation Wolf Star would be awesome. Actually, let's go to Open Game Art. Hopefully, Open Game Art is working. It's been down a couple of times recently. If I go look for Operation Wolf, does it give me anything that sort of looks like it? I guess wolf is going to give me literal wolves. If I look for shooter, that's probably going to give me like side scrolls or top down. Now, what's this kit from Kenny? Oh, interesting. So sort of like game, like for Hotline Miami type game. Acid Bottle says, is the side panel sprite functioning well now? No, that's still a work in progress. So yeah, at one stage I've been working on a side panel for games like Rodland, that use sprites for the side panel. I never got around to finishing it, unfortunately. What is this? Huh. Okay, now that looks kind of interesting. What can we... Ancient metal. Hmm. There's definitely some interesting things from this this user that I want to play with sometime. You know what? I am. I had been thinking about doing something conceptually about pseudo 3D, like having a sprite that you can sort of move close to and move away from. That is way outside of what people typically do with Scorpion, and so that might be a looks like yeah, I'm gonna have a play with it. I don't know how well it's gonna go, but it is a good excuse to do something with real time scaling. And it happens to be ECS palette, so that means that just 16 colors. Okay, let's do this. So we've got the sprites. Um, so what I had been thinking about is just having it so that we have like a Battlezone sort of thing, except I guess more like the Atari Lynx Battlezone, where instead of being done with uh, just vectors, it is an actual sprite. So let's call this tiny tank. Um, for a new one. Okay, let's tank. I want to make this a 16 color game. I'm going to have a look to see if these have if the source sprites have palette. Oh man, I love the dithering on that. That's so that is so old school. How many colors? Okay, so that looks like it has the entire easiest palette. So I'm gonna um, whoops. Actually, I should have decreased to that. Okay, so I should be able to use that as my. Hopefully, nobody's going to find it blasphemous that ECS palette on Amiga. Um, Zupadan says Paint Shop Pro. We meet again. Paint Shop Pro is what I standardized on, and like I've been using it since college, and I like that I can just buy it. Like, I mean, I do rebuy it every few years to get latest Windows compatibility, latest features. But it's not like Creative Suite where I need to keep paying for it every month. Just buy it and I'm done with it. And this is 2021, so I have been using that a few years now. And yeah, I mean, I'm not an artist. I am just someone who needs to use something like this every now and then for hackery. Now with the real-time scaling, unfortunately, it only scales down and doesn't scale up. So I am going to. So that's 64 by 64. How close do we want to get? We'll say if the default distance is like at the default distance, it's twice that size. So let's go. Whoops. 128. 128 pixels. We don't want it AI powered. We want pixel resize. There we go. So it's nice and chunky. And now the real time scaling uses 16 by 16 areas. We'll cut off the top there just to, because otherwise that would just be wasted. And let's the sprites. Um, So we're going to add a new animation. Oh, what am I doing? On a new folder, just put it in here, and I'm just going to do tank front. Now this is going to be very, very suboptimal. Oh, okay. So there's some chat. So, okay. So Brando Moulton uses Paint.net. Fair enough. Doxer says he uses A-Sprite. Yeah, A-Sprite's good. I haven't really used it myself, but a lot of people do use it with Scorpion Engine. One of the other ones people do use with Scorpion Engine is ProMotion NG. Actually, I'm gonna rename this to A Tank Front. Just sometimes you use the prefix A just to make sure it's an animation, and then create a new actor using that animation, and I'll just call it enemy. So this is going to be very suboptimal. I don't think I'm going to bother with what we call MIP mapping. So MIP mapping is where you have like scaled at different sizes, like pre-scaled. I'm just going to use the built-in real-time scaling, and I'm gonna I'll work on this for Amiga, but then I'll try it on Mega Drive and try it on sorry, I will try it on Amiga, and then I will try it on Mega Drive and NeoGeo. Yeah, I'll leave it 256 wide. I need to add a map to put it in, and because I need a tile set for the map. So how am I going to do that? I edit that. Is that 16 by 16? Yeah. So I'm just going to create a really rough tile set with, I'm just going to have a ground tile and a sky tile, and then just be done with it for now. It's going to look very, very rough, and I could probably make it look a bit better with like gradients and things like that. But I just want, because I'm sort of speed running this, it is going to be very, very rough. And I'm just going to call that tile set. So let's create our tile set. I'll just call it tile set because there's only going to be one tile set in the game. And let's create a new map. I'm just going to call it map because there's only going to be one map in the game. And let's edit that map, and it doesn't need to be very big. Let's just resize that to what well, I only need it 16 wide, and I only need it 14 tall. And then 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. That's about half. Put all that, and then so we've got a sky, and we've got a ground. Where's the fill tool? There. Okay, so we need to I should be editing this in here. So let's switch to folder. Straight in the code. Oh, actually, I should have moved where it's startup. Yeah, I'll move that into code. So I should see that there, and then I can just go level map. Oops. Level map, and then I just want to go spawn enemy. I don't need to set X and Y because since it's camera locked, it should just spawn straight in the middle. Let's set to shrinkable, and I'm going to put fast memory on. Why not? Okay, now that's not perfectly aligned in the middle. Why is that? Oh, wait, no, that's... what did I do? Got it set to 256 wide. Maybe I've got some sort of bug with the I'll just try to switch to Mega Drive for a sec. Maybe I've got some sort of bug with the real-time scaling. Okay, so it's in the middle on Mega Drive. Why wasn't it in the middle on Mega? Okay, so that might be a bug with the real-time scaling feature. If I turn off shrinkable, if we go normal, what does it look like? Yeah, that looks to be more in the middle. Okay, so I must have some sort of bug with the shrinkable feature. So I'll need to come back to that to look at why is that not perfectly lined in the middle. Maybe it's just let's take away 16 from that. Maybe for some reason it is just 16 pixels out. Okay, yeah, so there must be some sort of bug with shrinkable on Amiga where it's 16 pixels to the right of where it should be. I'll need to come back to that. Now, because we want some sort of like we want to be able to move back and forward. So, well, at the very least, we want to be able to move back and forward. I might look at adding some sort of strafing feature. But to start with, we need to have the variable player. Is it? I don't want to name it the same. Yeah, I'm gonna say just CZ. Variable, it should be fraction CZ equals 0. I'll just check that is correct. Yep. So CZ is going to be our camera Z. This is going to be separate from the that's going to be separate from the 2D camera position. This is going to be a 3D camera position. We want to add a spawner code block for the tank. So spawn tank.codeblock2. I'm gonna go. Go alias actor var1. Actor. Okay, so we're gonna have use the active var1 for the tank. Actually, it should be actor var1. So we're using two active variables for the fractional position of the tank, and I'm going to go set actor CZ is 1. And so what that basically means is that the tank is 1 unit or 1 meter, whatever you want to call it, in front of the player, which is at CZ0. And let's add a spawn. Will be spawn tank. Actually, I think I might switch. I'm just gonna see what it looks like on NeoGeo. It might just switch over to the NeoGeo development, because there is that bug with real-time scaling on Amiga that I need to come back to. But also, you know, we're going to get the best scaling effect on NeoGeo anyway. I'll just check that it looks okay. Yeah, that looks like what we expect it to look like. So for map, we need to have our update spawn tank, and oh no, that's a weird issue. So that shouldn't be showing music position if we don't have a music position set, but I can worry about that later. Now for our update, we're gonna want to go. We're gonna want to update that CZ variable. So we can go if control1y is greater than 0, which means we're pushing backwards. So that will be CZ minus 0.1. So we'll make it like 1/10 of a meter. If control1y is less than 0, so that's if I'm pushing forward, then go CZ plus 0.1 end. So that's going to move our tank logically, but that's not going to it's not going to scale the tank. So we still need to scale the tank. We need to have an update tank update. Tank update tank. Oops. Good. Dot code block 2, and then well, let's assign that. Okay, so when we're setting the scale, we need to work out what the delta is. So I'm going to declare a variable called fraction delta x, or delta z equals 0. So what I mean by z is So normally in 2D games we think of two axes, so we've got X for left and right and Y for up and down, so Z is for back and forth into the screen for a 3D or a pseudo 3D game. So we want to calculate the delta Z, which is, if we take the tanks, CZ minus CZ, so that is how the distance between the player and the tank. And then we can go okay, so we need to divide by that. So the core principle of pseudo 3D is called divide by z, which basically means if something is at 2 meters away, it is twice as small as something that's 1 meter away. So we should be able to go. If I reuse that variable, so delta z equals now I should add dot to make sure and force that it's a fraction. Otherwise, it will try to make it a bit faster by doing it as whole numbers. If I go, is let me just check. So 255 is the maximum size divided by. Actually, I'm going to do a. No, I will. I'll need to add some sort of thing to hide it if you get too close. But for now, I just need to go 255, which is the maximum size divided by delta z. So if it's a meter away, which is going to be at the start, it's going to be 255. But if it's 2 meters away, so divide by 2, then that will be, like 128. And then I need to set the actor shrink x, or set actor shrink x equals. Is it actor shrink x? Hopefully those are the correct variables. I'll check in just a second. Doxter is asking, is CZ an internal variable? It's one I've manually declared. So Scorpion doesn't have anything built in for pseudo 3D, so I'm just sort of creating some variables as I go. Now I've never actually, I have never actually attempted anything like this in Scorpion, so hopefully it's not going to be too much of a disaster. Set equals CZ. Okay, I'm thinking too much in like C# and other languages where you can just go variable plus and then the value to change it by. I really do need to add that feature to Scorpion someday. But anyway, so we've got that. Is it gonna work now? Let's see. Just want to double check. Actor shrink. Oh, no, that shouldn't be actor shrink Z. It should be actor shrink Y. Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen now, but at least in theory, if I push back, then I should be moving away from the tank. Yep, there we go. Okay. So there's some alignment issues there that I should put. Yeah, actually, I am gonna take the gonna put the horizon down a bit. There are some real issues I need to fix with alignment in shrinkable mode, but those I will come back to in the next few days. But yeah, for the purposes of the demo, I took too much off, and now it goes into the sky. Yeah, I'll put one of those back. I'll need to fix alignment with shrinkable modes, but otherwise, yeah, that was the main thing I just wanted to show, is how we can have um that pseudo 3D effect of something going into the distance. So we can back away from this tank, we can drive up to the tank, and so I guess this is sort of the first time anyone's attempted to do a first-person shooter in Scorpion. Of course, we've got one problem here, is when we get too close. So I'm just going to go with I'll make a condition here, which is just if actually no, I'm going to do this in regular code blocks, because I can't remember all of the new commands. So if I just need to go, if delta z is less than, I guess, 1.0, then we want to go actor render mode off. So if we get too close, we'll just make it that it turns off the camera, or turns off rendering the tank, because we're sort of overlapping the tank. Otherwise, we'll go render mode default. Let's open that again. I'm not actually sure if anyone's made a Battlezone sort of like game in NeoGeo. I mean, I know there must have been ones for Amiga and maybe for Mega Drive, but I don't know if there was one for NeoGeo. Which, oh no, what did I do there? What? Oh, well, I should go return. Delta Z is less than 1. Oh yeah, that will be the problem, because I wasn't actually exiting. Okay, so whoops. No, it's still acting very weird when I get close. It's supposed to be turning off the render and then not doing anything more. Is there? Oh, no, it's because that was after I reused the variable to do that divide. Okay, so we've got we can move back and forth to a tank. I'm just going to give it a quick try on Mega Drive and Amiga. It's not going to look as good on either of those platforms, because they don't have a proper real-time oh they don't have a proper real-time scaling feature. So let's turn on scalable. Yeah. Okay. So it looks pretty good, when we're close, but as soon as we start getting away from it, it starts to distort, and it's just weakness of the real-time scaling as it is. What we would probably want to do is map it, so we'd make it so that, okay, well, when we get about that far away, when it really starts to break up, then we'll use another frame, and then maybe we'd use another frame again. But it gives us the effect of getting closer to the tank and further away from the tank. That's all we're really after at this stage. Amiga, it's going to slightly offset, I think. Yeah, so it looks a bit better on Amiga than it does on Mega Drive, because we use some extra scaling features. Still doesn't look perfect because you can sort of see bits being cut off the tank as we go further away, but conceptually, conceptually that works. It's, not great, but it works. So that's only going back and forward. Oh, thanks, Mixel. But yeah, so that's only going back and forward. I don't want to go like the full-blown, turn around and 360, but I am going to add a strafe. I do want to try to add a strafe feature while I've got time in the stream. The doctor says, looks great. It's first preview, if you ask me. Thank you very much. But yeah, so we've got our camera, we've got our CZ. We're going to add a CX. Fraction CX 0. And you might be thinking, what? Where is CY? Well, CY would be the CY would be up and down. So if this was like a helicopter game where you could go up and down, fly up and down, then we would need a CY. But because this is a tank game, because we're just flat on the ground, that's all we really need. And I'll do the same thing for that. So go Control X. So that will give us that will logically strafe us, but that won't adjust the tank position. So we need to declare a delta X as well. Fraction delta X equals 0. And delta X equals of course, we're already burning up most of our tank variables, or our actor vars, but that's okay. I think if I was to make a serious attempt at like a Battlezone type game, I would probably use arrays to store all of this sort of active position data, or I might use like a parent actor to represent the 2D position, and then a child actor to represent the 3D position. But this will do for now. And set actor CX equals 0. So let's let's do that just for now. So delta X will be actor CX minus CX. And then we need to work out the actor origin Y. So the actor origin Y is what? Oh, sorry, origin X. So the origin X, it's what we're going to use to move it left and right. We won't tweak the origin Y. So the origin Y, I think we'd only really want to tweak if we were in a helicopter and we could fly up and down over the battlefield. But we're just doing simple tank game. Well, I say simple, but it's pseudo 3D is never really that simple. So we want to set the actor origin X equals, so it'll be 128 as the default position, plus I guess we want delta X times 128. And the reason for that, well, so at 128, what it means is, oh, actually, so what that basically means is that when a tank is 1 meter to the right, it's like 128 pixels across. But then we'll also want to divide that by the delta z, so that when it's further away, it's sort of closer to the middle of the screen. I guess it's kind of hard to explain, and I don't know for sure it's just going to work, but we'll see. Doxus, sorry, just quickly answering a question for Doxter. So Doxter said, where did that frame come from in the active view? Oh, this is because I'm running it on CPU camera lock, and so it says it's fixed to the camera, and the origin X and Y controls it relative to the camera. So we can see, well, that's actually like a 320 by 256 wide frame. It should be 256 by 252. Sorry, it should be 256 by 256. But you can see, the tank is approximately in the center of that 256 area. So let's see if our strafing works. Okay, so the middle seems okay. If I think I've got strafing backwards. Yeah, because when I push left, it goes off to the side. So that I've got my strafing backwards. That so it should be minus. Yeah, if I set that to 128 minus. Yep. Okay, now that gives us our strafing. It might be a little bit more interesting if the tank is actually moving. So let's make it so that the tank is just constantly moving towards us. Let's go to the top, and I'm just going to go set actor cz dot equals actor cz minus or plus minus, because it is getting closer to us, so it'll be chasing us. And I'll make it like very small, so it's actually slower than the camera. Otherwise, it would be impossible to get further away from it. Whoops! Did I break? Did I? This EZ minus. Just comment that out for a second. What did I do wrong? Was it still fading in when it moved past us? Oh, yeah, okay, so of course it's gonna, like, that was already up in front of the player. So let's move that way in the back. So like at 5, it's way in the distance. So that gives us a bit of time to back out and maybe strafe a bit. Oh, yep. So we've got our tank. We've got this enemy tank chasing us. In fact, I'm going to make it slower than that. That's just still a bit too fast. I guess we could also make it so that it chases us like strafe. So if I strafe to the right, so it's not really following us to the right. Oh, now that is weird how it cutting off like that. I don't know if that's some sort of NeoGeo. Oh, actually, I know why that is. I think that's yeah, that's a bug I need to fix. But it's because at full size, it wouldn't be that full length. So I'm cutting it off when it really shouldn't be. But otherwise, so we've got this tank that's chasing us. That is more or less working as expected. What I will do is let's. I'll have to try to find this original game, see what it's like, and see how closely I could remake it. Oh, now I think it was the Mega Tank. Oh, it actually has a you see the turret goes up and down, so it actually has a it actually does have a animation, but won't worry about that. For now, I'll just crop that the same way. So we've got our where is our sprite enemy tank, and I'm just going to call this enemy tank right. And then so I'll flip that one. Okay, so if I then go back to um, if actor cx is greater than cx dot else if actor cx dot less than cx dot end or else end. So I'm going to make it so that if the actor is too far to the right, so we're going to go actor cx minus 0.01, and we'll go too far to the left, actor cx plus 0.01. I'll give that a quick test. I just want to make sure that the tank follows us on both. Whoa. Oh. Actually, that was kind of funny. I just want to watch that for a second. I didn't mean to make the tank spin like that. I just thought that was quite funny. That is really creepy. Okay, so let's I should have set the frame delay to nothing, which sets it so that way. So since it's set at infinite, it is just going to yeah, stick on that one way frame. So if I move over to the right, no, that's not. I think that actually might be just moving too slowly to be noticeable. Let's I'm going to make it so that it doesn't chase us forward unless it's perfectly aligned with us. Oh, now that sorry, I keep forgetting that I haven't actually added that feature to Scorpion Engine. I'm still thinking in different programming languages. Yep. Okay, so if I move to the right, then it'll start following. Oops. Okay. What's the problem? It's something to do with it just getting too close. Might be some variable precision thing. So I can fix that by going if actor cx dot is less than cx, And I'll just make a note, so cross the threshold. So I'll just go actor cx equals cx, and I'll do the opposite. So that means if it's moved a little bit too far, it just clamps to, you know, being perfectly aligned with the camera. Pink Parrot Studio says so good. My mind is exploding right now. I'd be very interested to see what you might do with this sort of effect. Now it's still playing up. What have I done wrong here? Let's. Ah, so it's supposed to be set. Okay, so if I move over, then the tank is chasing me, but we don't have it. We don't have the tank rotating how it's supposed to be. So we need to go set actor animation, and I think it was a enemy tank, and then frame will be too far to the right. Okay, so that'll be that should be frame 1, and that will be frame 2, and then this should be frame 0, hopefully. Let me just a tank front. It's not technically the front of the tank anymore since we've got left and right, but that's okay. Alright, so let's I'm gonna give that a try, and if that all works, I'm gonna give it a final test on whoop, okay, I just got the directions mixed up. So that should be frame 2, and that should be frame 1, I guess. Let me just check. So if it's too far to the right, then okay, that should be 1. No. I don't actually know why I don't know. I've got something backwards, but you can see the tank will, you know, move to being aligned with me before it approaches. And okay, Acid Bottle says, will this be doable on Amiga one day? I mean, it's doable on Amiga now. I'll switch to Amiga. I think I might need to adjust because it looked like the uh, the alignment was a bit off. Yeah, so I mean, it looks, you know, it doesn't look as good on Amiga, but it works on Amiga. Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that the alignment is a little bit out on Amiga is not too much. I don't think it's too much of a distraction. It's just something I do need to fix whenever I get the chance to. But yeah, so that's what it looks like on Amiga. It's not as good as NeoGeo because, you know, we don't have proper real-time scaling on Amiga. We could, you know, what we could do is we could like just make smaller versions of this, like manually resize a few smaller versions, and I mean, I think that's what most games did. Like you see with the new Outrun AGA, it's sort of like the cars pop between different sizes because it doesn't have real time scaling. Whereas the slightly older Outrun Amiga edition, it runs a lot slower, but that does have real-time scaling. So you could use a mix and match of both approaches, or just one or the other to, just to balance performance versus memory versus having it look good on everything. And Mega Drive, it should also just work on. So yeah, the tank just looks a little bit weird on Mega Drive until it gets close. Like, it gets better as it gets closer, but when you're far out, it just sort of weirdly stretches. But again, that's something you could fix by having just pre-scaled versions at different offsets. Yeah, maybe that's hmm, just think. Hmm. Sorry, I'm just thinking. Do I want to You know what? I am going to well, I'm sort of getting near the end of my allocated time, but what I am going to do is just show the concept of mip mapping, just so I wasn't sure if the concept was that clear, but um, so that was actually the original size of the tank. So I'm going to go enemy tank bar, and yeah, I know this is all sort of pretty messy, but this is there's only so much you can do on a stream. But I'm going enemy tank right far, and I'm going to mix in. Oh, so far, then we've got right, and then well, I'll need that twice, and then let's put that, let's flip that. Okay, and then if we go back to our uh, update tank, so I'm going to declare a couple of temporary variables. Well, let's go all the way. Let's bring that up here, and I'm going to variable word, and I'm going to call it frame offset, and I'll just go if delta z is greater or equal to 2, then I'm going to go frame offset equals 1, else frame offset equals 0. I'm just going to say this is a far version of the tank, and I'm just going to go this is close version of the tank, and then I'm just going to go plus frame offset, frame offset, frame offset, and then I need to work out this this delta z. So I can go if delta z is greater than 2. Oh, is greater than 2? Yeah. Yes. So then we want to we don't want to scale the far one as much. So if I double that 510, is that going to give me what I want? So if I go 510 divided by 2, that should be, yeah, okay, of course. should be what I need. Hopefully this isn't going to show up do anything too weird. I'm going to go back to the NeoGeo to start with. Whoops. Value for an update tank. What did I do? Okay, so there's a few things. So that should be set again. Oh, and okay, now I was supposed to have that set to a default value. Is that going to be any good? Whoa. Okay. Oh, now that is something. No, I have done something weird here. Um. Okay, that's supposed to be greater than or equal to 2. I think. And yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's one thing that wasn't quite lining up. Oh, and because the other thing is, I need to double these because we've got twice as many frames now. So that should be 4 plus frame offset. That should be 2 plus frame offset. Now, I think there are some things I need to fix with NeoGeo scaling in that. Yeah. Yeah, so one thing about the NeoGeo hardware is that when you're scaling down, it will fill up the bottom pixels, which the bottom sprites, which is why you're getting those weirdly scaled up sprites. So that's just something I need to fix within NeoGeo's sprite scaling. There's some documentation about it on the NeoGeo wiki, that specific bug. I might need to add something in here to say don't do this if it's NeoGeo. I'll go to Mega Drive next because Mega Drive was the one that had the most problems with the. Oh, there is a bit more of a click with. Yeah, there are some weird bugs where it sort of glitches a bit when it goes from the far version to the closer one, but conceptually you get the idea. In fact, instead of real-time scaling, you could just have like 60 different frames if you can fit it onto the ROM or fit it into memory. In fact, I did an Amiga game called A Mission Impossible, which was similar to this, but everything was pre-scaled. Yeah, so you can sort of see, yeah, like changing the detail level. It doesn't really work that well, so I might I might take this out. Yeah, I'll take the mip mapping out of the. Oh, now that's a very weird bug. Oh yeah, and I guess the other thing is with the real-time scaling, I haven't really got it like clipping at the edges very well on Amiga. Okay, so that's sort. Yeah, that's not really ready for prime time, I guess, but that's sort of a preview of what we should be able to do with Amiga games in the future. Have these sorts of pseudo 3D effects. I'm just gonna get yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that frame offset because that just doesn't look great. And let's just get to that. I'll just check it's working how it was working before. Yeah, that is working all right. So well, I think I'll leave it there for now. Thanks everyone for watching, and if it's still Halloween for you, enjoy the rest of your Halloween. I'm going to post this to YouTube in a few hours, and I will catch you all later. Oh, and I will raid someone before we go. Oh, no worries at all, Acid Bottle. Who are we raiding? We raided. Well, let's have a look at who we're following. Um, just gonna raid Amiga Live today.